Hey everybody, welcome to Houdini Hangout. Welcome to July. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is for you. Hope it's going well. We have, an interesting one today. I just had a long weekend in North America, in the United States and Canada. We had Canada and the U.S. holidays, our national holidays, so that was kind of fun. Hey everybody, welcome. Rares, Mandy, Procedural Nodes, Philip, Zach. Hey everybody, welcome. Krista, hello. So welcome everybody. Good to have you here. We are going to be working on some MPM simulation tonight. That's at least the idea here. I got this idea from the H21 launch video, and there was some suggestions online to use to do something, like a rain simulation or whatever. And I thought, a rain simulation in and of itself is pretty straightforward if you're doing just like particles, mainly just particles. But I thought maybe we do something with it, like sheeting down an object, like streaming down the object, and we can use some of the settings to kind of help the water kind of stick to the surface and things like that. So that's what we're going to do here. So that is our idea for today. Sorry, I'm just coming out of a meeting and just kind of getting my computer set up here. So, and yes, again, I have my silly little earbuds in for this, which are great and I love them, but I'm really hoping that I can fix my headphones. Like I said, the brackets broke on them. And I tried to fix them over the weekend with a wonderful $13 thing from Amazon, and the screws were too short for it. So I am getting now like a little 3D printed thing, I think, that clips onto it and keeps them in position. So I'm really hoping I can go back to my normal streaming headphones, everything set up, because it's like really, really strange to be doing this with earbuds in. It's weird. So anyways, hopefully that will be back to normal. But just a little note too, if you're interested in joining the Discord server, you can go to houdinihangout.com and you can grab an invite link there. That will give you access to the Discord server, and there's a channel in there that has a link to all of the downloads of the actual working files that I make during these. So you can go in and match them up to the date, and you're off to the races, and you can kind of take a look at it. So those are free for everybody. If you guys have any thoughts or questions as we're going through this, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Always happy to, clarify something if I'm not being specific about some specific thing that I'm working on. If I'm not being clear about it, happy to try to make it a bit clearer. And if you have an idea for how to do something better, let me know, because I've said it many times. I'm not this isn't just me trying to tell you how to do something. It's kind of a collective effort. So if I'm hitting a wall, I'm always happy to get some feedback from all of you as well. It's kind of impossible to know everything, so happy to outsource some of the knowledge to everybody else here. So, and there's always a bunch of really smart folks in the chat, so happy to have you guys and hear what it is you might be thinking about as well. So with that in mind, I think that's pretty much about it. So yeah, if you have questions, make sure to put them in the chat, because somebody else might be feeling the same way, and you can ask the question. Hello, Solus, welcome. Hey, Fractaler, welcome. All right, I think that will let's jump in and get some stuff going here. Gang's all here. Hello. All right, let's jump over and do some Houdini stuff. As per the usual, I will save, which I always do right at the start. I never forget to save. Fractaler never yells at me to hit save. It's never happened. So What a bunch of wholesome people. That's the hope here, you know? If we're going to be, you know, we're all got to figure out this thing together, this whole world together. At least we can be kind to each other, right? I would never. Spent hours today in the cookies MPM setup. Oh man, that's like next level. We ain't getting into that today, but yeah, that's the real stuff. All right, what are we doing here? We're doing an MPM rain sim. Okay. All right, I'm in Solaris, so let's jump over to objects instead. All right, so let's start out with some geometry here. And you know what? I actually need to find a little something. Let's see here. That's my email. I don't need to throw that up on screen. So let's go to our old friends Polyhaven. And let's see what we can find here. See if we can find a little asset real quick that we can use. Doesn't really need to be anything too crazy. Just something simple enough that can show, you know, some rain maybe. What should we use? What should we use here? It's too bad they don't have like a vehicle or anything like that. That would be nice. We're gonna rubber boots would be interesting. That certainly is something you could use in the rain. Boulder's a little overly complicated. Maybe this one. That's kind of interesting. Maybe a boulder would be a good thing to do. Oh, well, there we go. We've got a covered car. Could do that in the rain. Look at that. That could really work. A song about MPM. That's amazing. Oh, that's really funny. I'm just gonna type in car here just to see if there's anything else. No. So the funny thing is that the word car is where you can hear my accent the most, and people in college used to try to get me to say the word car because I say it very, very strongly. All right, so let's throw this in our Houdini Hangout folder here. I'm going to put it in that folder right with that because I can actually share this. So we're going to do that. All right, cool. We've got our car downloaded. Let me just pull that up and unzip it. The song is the song with the Cookie Monster voice. Oh wow, that would be intense. Oh, here comes Leonard. I bet she's gonna be up. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Figured he was gonna jump up on, be excited to say hello. What accent? I guess you'd have to be probably American maybe to hear the accent. It's just a regional accent. It's almost like people from Boston a little bit, but it only comes out at certain times. And I live around the Great Lakes in North America, which are like, if you look at the map, there's these 5 big lakes, and around that are some of the weirdest like regional accents that have been kind of created. So anyways, yeah, I lived in Florida in the US when I went to university, and people would literally be like, say car. And they would always want me to do it. Oh, there we go. Nice. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Some of PA would have very similar accents. Yeah, we're not too far from Pennsylvania. All right, let's bring. Hi, bud. You gonna come say hello to everybody? Okay. Hi. Yeah, good boy. He's less nippy. He used to come in and try to bite my nose and tell me to get out of here, but today he just gave me a little kiss. So I prefer that. If we're gonna have some sort of interaction, I prefer not to be nipped in the nose to be told what to do. All right, let's do geo. We'll call it covered car. Originally from Ohio, so when I go back home, everyone sounds very Fargo to me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know. He's hanging with my wife. My wife was out. She usually works from home, but she's been doing a little contract at a company, freelancing, and so she's home, and so he's like been sitting waiting for her all day. So doggo is off doing his own thing. But if he comes back, we'll find him. I also don't have the camera on because she's needed it for all of her meetings and things like that. So maybe I'll have to buy. Yeah, they're great. He's great. He's nuts, but he's great. All right. Anyways, all right, let's bring the file in here. Let's grab our here 2026 708 Geo. Let's grab our FBX here. Guessing this is going to be gigantic. It is. Let's do a transform here. And we'll just go 0.01 maybe. Yeah, that seems about right. Cool. This is great. This will be really good. Hey there, how's it going? Frivas, welcome. It's going well. It's going well for me. All right, so we've got our car geometry here. Let us, I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit. Do an attribute delete just to kind of clean this up a little bit here. I like to get rid of the FBX attributes that we don't really need them. Let's see, we have normal texture, material. Okay, I think those are fine. Let me do a connectivity here because I think I'm only going to want to take this top part of this. So let's do that. We'll do it on the primitives, I guess. Some class primitives. Sorry, not a class primitive. That's a Solaris thing. Sorry. Anyways, we'll put some a class attribute on the primitives, and we can use this one right here. So let's see if we do we'll do select, and we'll do. I'm gonna pull up this little button here, and we'll select by attribute class, and so we should be able to pull that up, right? Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right, so let's just do a split, maybe. No, let's do a blast. And I'm just gonna make a second thing here. I'm just gonna make an output from here. And this will just normally be what's output from the node. But then over here, I'm just gonna do a blast. I'm gonna do a select, and we're gonna select, that's what we want there. Select via the attribute. I forgot that was it. And so here, we're gonna select that. Press enter. We'll just do a delete non-selected. And there we go. That's just the top part of the car, just so we don't have to have a million things underneath. And let's put down null here, and we'll just call this that's just the cover itself, and this will be the output from it. So let's do that. Great. Okay, looks pretty good. Yeah, so the easier way to do it now that I'm remembering this is if we go into select here, hitting S, which I should have, should have my little thing on here. I keep forgetting to put that into my auto start script, but is it up now? Yeah, there we go. So, okay, so if I hit S to go into that mode there and then use this little button here, we can change this over to be a specific attribute. So you could change this by the material path, right? Things like that. And we can come back over here. We could select based on materials, but there's only one there. Let's see, maybe the name, and there's our different names. So we could pull any of those, use any of those options. I didn't really think that name would do a whole lot, but I guess there are a few there, and we could have probably used that as well. But the connectivity is nice because you know, we know that that's probably going to stay the same. But yeah, anyways. Cool. All right. So we've got that. Yes, there is an option for selecting, preset or connected geometry, but I'll show you that real quick, and we'll maybe just as just a note. So if we do S4, and we turn this off and do select 3D connected geometry and select this, right? We have all the islands here, right? So this is island 4544, right? And we hit, let's just say we do a blast from that, right? You can see here that, yes, it did do the blast. However, with that specific mode, it'll only put into the group parameter here the number of the polygons that are in there. So it does work. It just works in a very different manner where it's not attribute related. So if the number of polygons changed in that case, it would kind of change the way it works. And that could technically happen with the class thing as well. So really the better thing to do, the best option overall, I guess, would actually be to do the name covered car, because that's coming from the actual geometry. And so no matter, like, so we could take this out. This will blast just that. Actually, now that I'm seeing that, it isn't actually just taking that. It's taking a lot of stuff underneath it. Okay, but that would be technically the best way of doing it, because that would be kind of completely isolated from the number of polygons. So we could retopologize, do a bunch of different stuff there. And so, yeah, the temptation to proceduralize everything. Yeah, yeah, you kind of have to know what the winning and losing option is. But for that, I tend to like to use things like adding a connectivity, attribute, and then going from there. So anyways, okay, so there's our car cover. Great. We have this all looking crazy now. Oh, that's right. I can't get to that there. I'm just going to turn it off here so we don't have the crazy multicolored. All right, so let's do another geometry node here, and let's get into our sim. I don't know. We'll say water sheeting, something like that. Because this is going to be our actual sim that comes onto the this geometry here. So let's say get car cover, and let's grab that from the other node. Out car cover, accept. We'll use that there. And then, so what I'm thinking here is that we're going to want to do something with this to obviously get some source points from it. Now, eventually, I want to have a little particle simulation that brings that basically shows some rain falling more or less. But for right now, let's just do something super simple. Let's just do a scatter node because we don't need to worry about the particle simulation. We know how to do a particle simulation for the most part. However, right now we're scattering over the whole thing. And what I actually want to do is add in a mask by feature. Or we could say, yeah, let's do mask by feature. I wasn't sure. I was trying to think if there's a better node to use for that. But let's do a mask by feature, and we can do from a direction. So let's do this, and I am just going to show the mask here. And there is our mask. I'm just going to call this density because that's what scatter uses by default. So I can just turn this on here, and we should have only points that are going to be from the top of this, basically. I'm going to lower the count of these. Maybe we'll say like 100. I'm also going to turn off the relax iterations. We don't really need to push these particles apart too much. Or actually, maybe we could just say, give it like one relax iteration. Let me make these a little bit bigger just so you can see them. I'm just realizing that they might be a little hard to see on the stream. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, so now we've got some points in there. And I'm going to hide the other objects, and maybe I'll just do this. Yeah, maybe that's better. All right. Let me know if you're having trouble seeing any of this stuff. But okay, so we've got a bunch of points here. In fact, I might even do less. I might do like 25 or something like that. And what I'm going to do is do the seed by frame. And so this will be just, every frame we're getting a bunch of random particles. So that can be kind of what our rain simulation is, right? Just a bunch of random drops hitting it for right now. So let's do that. So we've got our scatter. And what I think we'll probably want to do here is just trying to think of what's the easiest thing to do. We could copy a sphere to it. Probably our best thing to do would be a maybe just doing a VDB from it for right now. Just like a little spherical VDB from like the actual source. What I eventually would like to do is a little splash of some type. So maybe we could do that too. Just trying to think of what's our best option here. Okay. Yeah, maybe our best option is, oh, you know what? I wonder if we could use our pyro burst source. I wonder if we could use that. Let me see. I'm just curious if we could do little bursts from these. I think we could. So let's see here. Let's make this way smaller. Let's just kind of play with this for a second here. Okay, so we've got this little thing here. Let's go even smaller. That's way too many points. So let's do 2. And let's say, yeah, this is going to work. I think this will work nice. So we can do this. Not sure how big these initial sizes are going to be. Yeah, we could maybe make it a little smaller than that, like something like that there. And I think if we port all these in here, we're going to get little splashes there. Yeah. That's kind of fun. Now, we don't need to have any animation on this, so we'll just say 1 frame duration. And so this should... Oh, right. That wouldn't work because it's not going to change for us, is it? Yeah, so with that, if we wanted to do it this way, what I would do then is say we would go to 1,000 here, and that's going to be really angry about it. Lots of points being sent out there. Yeah, way too many. But what you could do then is use an attribute here. I am confused because I thought this would give us an attribute that we need to use. I think it's start frame. Yeah, start frame. Okay. So, hey. Hello, Zach and Maitland. Hello. Hello again, Leonard. You coming up here? Yeah. Hi, saying hi to everybody. Yeah, hello everybody. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's do an attribute adjust integer. We can just vary the start on these, and we'll just call this start frame, and we'll just do random. I don't know. Let's say 1 to 240. And so now we should see, we're going to get a lot of different random hits here, but this is really slow. It's actually really inefficient. So maybe what we'll do instead, yeah, you can do, oh, right. You're right. It would do the exact same thing I just did. If I did this and hit that, that's going to do literally the exact same thing that I just did. So yeah, there you go. Kind of silly. Wasn't thinking. Thank you. So that maybe isn't the smartest way of doing this. Okay. Just thinking of what is our best option moving forward here. Because maybe this burst source is nice, but it's not super useful for us, maybe. Unless maybe... Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I mean, obviously we can get into something much more complicated than this, but oops. We've got our scatter there. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this pyro burst source. We've just got a few points there. Great. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to copy to points here. And this should be able to work for us here. Yeah, the only problem that I'm running into is that we have the normals in this position like this. And so what we need to do is just rotate this so that it's pointing along the z-axis, which is fine. In fact, we can just put that in the pyro burst source itself. The direction can be in z. So let's just set that into the z-axis. And now, as always, I'll fall asleep midstream like the unk that I am. It's all right. This is an unk-friendly zone. Very, very pro-unk here. Okay, so we have our little splashes and things like that. It's fine. This will work fine for right now. They're just going to be our little splash geometries. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. We could do... we can use scatter and align for this as well. We could have used this maybe from the start, but what we could do is just do add attributes to existing point cloud, and this wire's in there. That's so funny that it literally just did that. So if I do this, are they still pointing up? They are. Great. Okay. So what we could do is we could just say like this, and they're just going to randomly scatter around now. And honestly, you'll probably never notice that those are different. So let's do Grandma Mandy. All right, so let's try this and see where that gets us. Oh, right. I need to do a time shift here because this pyro burst source wants to be animated. So I'm just going to delete the channel here so that we're not time dependent over here. And now this should work. We should have all of these things popping around there. Yes, much better. Random little bursts of rain, I guess we'll call it. And they're just little point clouds anyways. So, all right. So what I'm going to do with these is I am going to rasterize these, I think. Do we have P-scale on them? We do. So that's great. Let's rasterize these though into a... I'm trying to remember exactly what, so with an MPM configure, what can we input here? I'm just trying to remember with this MPM source. Points from geometry. Let me just see if I do a VDB from polygons. Will this work? So if I do a voxel size of 0.1, yeah, that works just fine. Cool. Okay. So we're just going to pipe a VDB in here because we can put a VDB into this. So that's great. Okay. That's great for us. Is the velocity from these points also important? Yeah, I think we could possibly use that as well. Sadly, you cannot source points. That would be great to have. Actually, hold on a second. I just want to see something here. Yeah, you can't put the points right into there. Yeah. But yes, that's a great question about the velocity. Yeah, that's a good question because these points should have velocity on them, if I'm remembering correctly, and yes, they do. Okay, so what we'll do is we will have to mesh these, I think. Probably. All right, let's see. Let's see where we go here. All right, so we've got these. Let's do VDB from particles. And let's get in here and do this. Maybe I have these too small. Okay, there we go. There's our voxels. Thought. Okay. Great. Let's just see what our hit on these is. That's not too bad. Nice. Okay, so what we could also do here is we could grab some point attributes. We could grab the V. We could call this vel. And then we will do velocity acceleration for the vector type. And now we should have a velocity and a surface. I don't think, I mean, we can obviously point this in here now. And we're only going to have very tiny particles from this. So let's see here. Yeah, we're only getting like one particle from each of those. Oh, wait, is it putting the velocity in there? Looks like it is. That's exciting. Okay, so it's reading the velocity from that. Very nice. Wasn't sure if we'd see that or not. Okay, cool. So our MPM container is here. Let's just maybe resize this a little bit because we don't need to go too crazy with it. Tried that recently. Yeah, in this case, yeah, Mandy. So this, the scatter and align node is just doing some, basically some orientation stuff. You can see right here, it's putting on an orient attribute. So if we go in here and tick that on, you can see we've got some orientation here. And as we change these, it's just adjusting our orientation around the normal, basically. And you can also do some randomization with the cone, stuff like that. So we could give it just a little bit of like tweak there, so it's not all perfectly straight. You know, that kind of stuff. Maybe give it a 5 degree or whatever. And you can offset and do all sorts of different stuff. But yeah, you can scatter with this node. So if you put stuff in here, it's a scattered surface. And if you put something into the second node and set this to existing point cloud, you can get that out of it. So yeah, that's a good question. All right. So that's kind of cool that we're getting this VDB from particles here. How many? I've got a lot of voxels here, unfortunately. Let me see if I can turn this down a little bit and what we can get into here. Yeah, maybe I'll just turn this down a little bit just for the sake. So it's giving a warning because there's some particles that are too small from it. So we could adjust some of these settings here. So like if we come in here and give it the minimum radius basically for the points, that'll adjust it. Oh, due to the first input. Yeah. It's saying you need a scatter surface, but you don't actually need it. So that's what it's yelling at us about. And it says the input stop is missing point normals, which that's because there's no input there. Yes, exactly. It's exactly due to it. Yep. And then yeah, down here we're getting some errors from this, but we can also change the point radius scale here so we can make these a little bit larger if we wanted to, and we should possibly get a few less warnings here, but don't need to go too crazy with this. So I might just say 1 and maybe like 1.25 there and just kind of scale it up a little bit. And yeah, we've got a few points that aren't coming through, but not really a big issue here, I don't think. So, okay, let's do that. Let's come over here. And now, oh, right. I'm actually just going to cut this for a second because I wanted to adjust this NPM container, right? This is kind of like flip. So we don't want to initialize too big of an area here and get too crazy with things. Let's give ourselves a little bit of room so we can have a ground plane. I think there is a ground plane we can do in here, right? Collision. We have a ground plane. Yep. Okay, great. So we'll give our container just a little bit of extra room here. All right, so that looks good. Let's adjust the particle separation a little bit down just so we can start to get where we want it to be here. And again, this NPM source is only going to be updating once right now. So let's do a continuous activation here. And now it should update each frame. We'll get our little... When it comes to warnings, it only becomes a problem if it creates a problem. Yeah, exactly. Good point. All right, so I'm just going to come over here and see if we can just touch this down a little bit, maybe. If we want this to really be close in shape, that's where we're really going to need this to... Sorry, I'm just looking at this here. So these have like a little bit of shape to them. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. I don't want to make this too much of a heavy lift for us here. So let me just go a little bit in here and let's see. Oh yeah, that's not too bad actually. Can add a little more particle separation there. Do we have I just want to see what we're building here. So we're just doing free points. Okay, that should hopefully be okay. Let's go down a little more here. Let's say 3. No, that might be a little... Oh no, right. This is actually going to be the resolution of our surface here. Andy just was saying, hey guys, I'm new to simulation, all this stuff. Tried some features in Blender. It's not enough for me, not properly realistic. So I decided to try Houdini, but I actually don't know what specific version of Houdini will be okay for me. So, okay, so if you're just new to it and you're learning, just grab Apprentice. It has all the features. It just can't export or anything like that. That's the best place to start. There's lots of resources, getting started resources on sideeffects.com that you can find. It'll walk you through some basic simulations and working with objects and things like that. And then once you're kind of like, yeah, I definitely want to use this more. And if you're not using it in like a large studio, you can then move over to something like Indie, which will give you the ability to export and use third-party like renderers and things like that. And it'll give you pretty much almost the whole experience of Houdini, just with a few limitations as far as like earnings and things like that. So yeah, so hopefully that answers a little bit of like the actual versions. But yeah, I mean, Houdini 21 is out right now and you can start learning that. And then you can, when Houdini 22 comes out very soon, you can grab that and start playing around with that as well. What I would recommend though, is before you get into simulation, always check out how to work with attributes, how to manipulate things. Cause that's what, even though I'm working with simulation here, I'm dealing with attributes. That's why I have this little geometry spreadsheet open here so I can see, okay, here's my attributes that I'm building. And when I come over here, I see my velocity attribute, which is really important. And that's why I click on these nodes here, because then I can read what our attributes are that we're passing from up here. And so that's how I knew that we're in good shape, because this VDB here is passing the velocity data down to these particles, and you can see them with these little trails here. And that's what these attributes are kind of telling me. Another thing that I'm just realizing is that this splash is a little low. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to transform this up a little bit so it sits on the ground plane a little bit more. I just don't really want this to be intersecting with our collision geometry, because the kind of origin of where this splash is, when we copy it to points, is actually going to be the origin of where this actually sits. And so that should be much better for us. Yeah, no problem, Andy. If you're looking for more information and like want like a really detailed like breakdown of stuff, I would go to the you can check out the Discord server, houdinihangout.com, grab an invite to the Discord link, and there's lots of us in there that can, you know, give you our 2 cents about, hey, here's maybe a good place to go. There's just so many different things you can do to learn, but certainly don't jump into like ocean fluids first. That's like a no-go. Like just take it easy, do some particle work, start there, and then you can kind of go further and learn some more things. So, okay. So now we've got these geometry sources. They're actually going pretty well. I mean, we're getting 6 frames per second on this, which is great considering we're converting this to VDBs and doing a bunch of other things in here. So this is great. The other really helpful thing here is that we're sourcing this in as a VDB, so we're not converting it back and forth. So that's really, really helpful for us. But now let's just come down to our MPM solver and start playing around with some things here. We have our orient on, so I'm going to turn that off. The one thing I want to do is make sure that we're properly setting this up. So one thing that we need to do with this MPM source is come in here and let's change this over to water for our liquid preset. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, Mark Fancher is a super smart dude and has some really good, you know, he's just a really good teacher. So yeah, certainly if you have that, I would take a look at that. So I'm going to turn this on. We're going to get our liquid started here. Standard liquid kind of settings. Nothing too crazy here. And let's come down to our MPM solver. I am going to get rid of this because we don't, or sorry, I'm going to get rid of this box because we don't want that as our collider. And let's come up here and we can actually grab this car cover. Could wire that in. And what I'm actually going to do here, so one of the things that's really tricky, especially when you're talking about something like MPM or flip, is colliders, right? Colliders are always something that's a bit, if I pop out my chat, it changes my screen name. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, that must be you, Zach Katara. That must be you that's switching over. Or maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell what's happening, but that's great. That's so funny. Never thought of that. Okay, so here we can see our MPM collider. Oh, okay. You're that Zach. Gotcha. Yeah, there's too many Zachs. Nice. Interesting. This is giving me some strange warnings. Let me just throw a box back in here just to make sure that we're good. Not enough sources specified. What is the... Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. Time team. Oh, that's so funny. Well, it's hard to know. You guys are all... There's so many Zachs around. There's just... All the Zachs are here. You know what's really funny? I worked in at a studio here in Buffalo, and there were 3 people in the animation studio, in the animation like department, and it was me and one guy named Zach and another guy named Zach. So it was literally me and 2 Zachs. Now they spelled their name differently, which was very helpful, but that also is, it's always really funny because you'd say Zach and they'd both turn around and it was like, no, I'm talking to that Zach. It was always the wrong one. Anyways. Okay, cool. This is great. So what we're seeing here is that this collider does not have enough thickness to it, right? It can't actually resolve this. If we look here, you can see that the VDB is like really pretty thin. So let's see if we can't solve that real quick here. So what we can do actually is use this, can actually pull this mask by feature, and we can do a blast here. And we can just say, let's just say if we do primitives and we say, this is at density greater than 0. I think that'll give us what we want. Maybe. What am I missing here? Oh, sorry, that's a point attribute. Okay, and then we'll delete non-selected, like so. I worked in a studio where my boss was called Alex, my colleague was called Alex, and Alex's girlfriend was called Alex. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that, Mandy. That's pretty funny. Okay, so the other thing we could do here is we could do mask by feature and just pull our own setup here. So we can visualize this mask, and we could say that the max angle is even a little bit further. And so, oops, yep, that's okay. This is the lovely part of me having more than one. Okay, I know, thank you. This is the problem of me having more than one screen. If I move my mouse too far this way, it jumps over to the other screen and then freaks Houdini out. It's actually probably something I should report because that shouldn't technically happen, but who knows? Alex dating Alexander, what their kids' names will be. Their whole family's named Alex. Let's just go like this and see if we can say, let's just say mask greater than 0. Okay, I think that's going to work out just fine for us there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just throw in a clean here because I think this will get rid of unconnected points if I remember correctly. Yes. So we'll do that. And then what we can do... Oh, you know what? I'm so dumb. You know what I could have done? I could have just done a shrink wrap on this and just called it a day. And that's much easier, but maybe not because it's getting rid of some of these things. No. Okay, sorry. I can't do a shrink wrap, but that could work for other things. But it does override this area here because it's basically just trying to find the shortest distance between all of the kind of exterior points of this geometry. Anyways, okay. I thought I was being dumb, but not quite that dumb. Okay, so now let's use a polyfill for this. Let's see if we can get that bottom to fill in. Maybe not. Let's see if we can do triangles. There we go. Perfect. That should be fine. And then what we could do... That doesn't happen if you have the same resolution as your first screen. It drives me crazy about the mouse jumping. So it's funny. It's actually not even the same computer. I'm moving my mouse across 2 different computers. And so my other computer is this way. And so if I go off the screen that way, it goes to the other computer, and then I don't know where the mouse goes on this computer. So that is technically what's happening here. So I don't know. Who knows? The other thing we could do here with this, well, let's just take a look at the collider now. This should be very nice. Look at that. Hooray. Actual collision geometry. Nice. What we could do is we could like remesh this or do a, little something with it. I think for right now it should be fine because we're actually going to be mainly using these volume collisions. So, yeah, no real problem there. That is way too many voxels though. Let's see here. Can I... All right, let's see what we can do here. That's way too many voxels. All right, I have to turn this particle separation down. That is too much. And yes, I should be working at real world scale. Yes. got a couple meters here. So yeah, a car's a few meters long, roughly. Yeah, that seems right. Yeah, it is. It is funny. I think those are there in the actual mesh too. So yeah, it's just pulling what's in the mesh. All right, so we've got our collision geometry. We've got these particles. Let's just give this a roll and see what happens. We're obviously gonna have to tweak it, but let this. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on the mesh. I think it gets accentuated when you actually put the actual shader on it with like normals and things like that. I'm just gonna let the kernel compile, and then we'll see where we're at. Yeah, the scale of this might not work for it. Oh, somebody's sending messages here. It's so funny. I'm getting like all sorts of messages in the other chats or the other channels on here while we're going. All right, let's see. Hopefully this isn't gonna just explode my computer. Actually, speaking of that. Yes, good. Waiting for kernel to compile. Good. All right, there we go. Speaking of computers exploding, let's just hit save here real quick before we do this. And I should turn this on as well. All right, let's reset this sim. Cool. Computer explode. Yep. It's famous last words, right? Famous last words. Knock on wood. Yeah, I don't have anything wooden here to knock on. Have to be my, probably something in my, I don't know. I have to find the baseboards on my, my room here. Okay. So clearly we're running into something that this is unhappy about. Unless it's still compiling. It's probably... I knocked on my desk for you. Oh, I wish I had that tick. It's would be nice. I feel like whenever I start trying to do that, I always save over some file that I'm not meaning to, and then it's just a total mess. Okay. It's compiling stuff still. Cool. I would really hope someday we can get these compile times down because, I mean, I get it that there's some compiling that needs to be done, but yeah. Anyways. Whoa, what do we got here? What do we have here? Probably too much velocity is what we have here is my guess, but let's see here. Yeah, way too much velocity. Oh yeah. Hey, at least it's going like fairly quickly. That's not too bad. Yes, I haven't used C4D in a while. That is a good point. Okay. Control SOCD. Oh, I wish. All right. So let's come in here and let's just do a little manipulation on this here. Just trying to think of what makes sense for this. I think the compiling is a single core process. I'm almost positive it is because that would explain why my Threadripper is really slow at it because it's got a slower single core speed than a lot of other chips do. So that would explain it. All right, let's see what we can do here. Really all we need to do is probably does point velocity. You know what? Let's just do a little vex. That's super easy. We'll just throw a point wrangle in here. Sorry, not there. Here maybe? Yeah. So let's see our velocities, and yeah, that's probably much too far. So let's pull, let's do v at v times equals, which means we're going to multiply it by, and we're going to just say, we're going to add a channel here and just say velocity scale. Okay. And we're going to add that channel in there. And right now it's at 0. And if we go back to 1, we've got it at 1. So let's just scale it down a little bit. Maybe we'll scale it by half. And actually, now that I'm thinking of this, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put some noise onto this because we have some, you know, we're getting this velocity, but in order to make this look interesting, let's do attribute randomize. Okay, so we could do this actually. So we're going to do V velocity, and we could do this inside of sphere, and let's bias it towards a direction. That direction will be up. And let's just see here. What if we turn? Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go. So we turn both of those on. And we're going to do add to the value, I think. And so this is just going to kind of break this up a little bit. And we can make sure that, you know, we can give it a little bit or a lot in there. Or we could even maybe multiply it by this. Let's see how that looks, actually. I'm just going to tweak the seed a little bit here. Just kind of want to see what some variations are. Cool. Okay. Just trying to think of what the best thing to do here is, because we could add to it. Maybe that is the best to do. Just a little add. Yeah, let's try that. And then this will just, we can scale the whole thing from here. Yeah, maybe we'll scale it to half for right now. So the reason I'm adding in some randomization here to these attributes, just so that each of these shapes aren't going to be exactly the same, right? Because their velocities are basically the same as we're bringing them in. So I just want to make sure that we're getting a little bit more interesting velocities here. So let's just see what we get from this. It's interesting that we're getting all of these kind of like flat things there. It's kind of really strange. I'm going to turn off these. What Threadripper do I have? I have an old one. It's a 3970X, and I've got a 3090 GPU. Really don't need too much velocity on these, so let's turn this down a little bit more. Yeah, it's a good GPU and good CPU. I definitely would like to upgrade at some point, but we all know that's not happening anytime in this, you know, in this life anymore. Yeah, they do look odd. I don't understand why it's doing that, actually. It's a good question. The velocity, I don't think, is reversed. Sorry, didn't mean to bring life into this. Yeah, I don't think the velocity direction is reversed. Let me just check something here. I'm gonna turn these off. Yep. Yeah, no, it's not. They're going in that direction. I'm so real for that. Any insights, thoughts on the NVIDIA Spark GPUs for Houdini? Oh, gosh. Oh, APU? Oh, I doubt it'll run on that. My guess is that those are... I mean, APUs, right, are kind of a... I don't understand why these are, like, going horizontal only. APUs are kind of like they're all-in-one systems, right? And so like I know that we just recently, I think for Houdini 22 we might be though. Oh, they're ARM based. Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, I guess you could possibly do it. I don't know if there's an ARM build. I kind of thought that there was. Or maybe we're, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's an ARM build of Houdini. I'd have to look into that. I've never used it for anything other than Windows or Mac, so never even used Linux. All right, so I am going to try something here. I'm going to get rid of this second velocity thing here, and I'm just going to try to make my own velocities from this and see if I can make these do something I like a little bit better. Okay, so I can probably just bypass this for right now. And let's do attribute adjust vector, because I think I can do some better noise with this. So let's grab this, and we're going to do velocity. Going to be noise. Say set always. We're going to be 0 centered. Let's see here. Okay, so then that will be the initial value there. Then we should be able to maybe change a little bit of... Okay, there we go. That's what we want. We want to add some noise into this. We want to make our element size pretty small, I think, here. Yep. All right, so let's see what that does for us. The other thing we might want to do here is pull in the normal value as velocity for all of these. Did not think that this would be so particularly tricky to do, but let's go from here and see what we can get into. I mean, some of these are going to be going in weird directions, but that's okay. That's kind of funny. As far as no, Linux runs over ARM, so in theory Houdini would run on it. Drivers and other compatibility things are a different story. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, there's a lot of a lot of variables there to make these things work. All right, so let's turn the amplitude down on this. Let's see where that gets us. Okay. Change that initial. Oh, right. Could adjust the length scale right here. All right, I'm going to turn off this collider. I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to turn this off. And let's just see what happens here, just out of curiosity. Okay. Let's get a little flip book going of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off, and I am going to add some color onto this just so we can see it a little bit nicer. Do this like a blue. And let's flip book this and see what exactly it is that we're working with here. So what we're probably going to need to do here is turn the friction down quite a bit. This is obviously too much friction on this collision object, but and we probably want a little bit better surface tension as well. Yeah, there's no AMD support for the AMD stuff yet, unfortunately. No Karma support. Okay, this is starting to do something a little bit here. All right, so let's get in here and actually play around with some of these values. So the one thing we need to do is work with our collider here. I'm going to turn the friction down. Let's maybe cut it in half. I also want this. I want to turn the sticky up a little bit. So let's do that. Let's set them both to 0.5. And that should work for us. Let's also go to our MPM source here and turn our surface tension on. All right, let's do that. And do I need to turn surface tension on here at all? Yes, I do. Okay. Let's do that. And great. Probably need to wait for the kernel to run, but let's see here. Yep, surface tension. Let's do another flip book here, and we can watch how this comes together. Yeah, so what the sticky parameter is going to do is try to keep the fluid attached as long as possible as it's flowing down this as it's flowing down this object. And so we should see it as it comes like over the hubs and stuff like that, that it should try to stick to it a little bit better. Yeah, I think we need to turn the friction still way down. Needs to be almost nothing, it seems like. I think we could possibly add a little bit more noise into that velocity source here as well. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to turn off these particles again just so we can see this a little bit better. Let's see here. Just gonna play around with these values a little bit, see what we can get from them. Okay, so let's try that. And I kind of wonder if I shouldn't spread this out a little bit more, maybe. Maybe just have these a little bit like wider spread things here. Okay, let's try that out, see how that goes. All right, let's do this again. Let's turn the friction way down on this. We'll say 0.1. Let's turn the sticky up, maybe 0.8 or whatever. And let's go for it. Let's see what we get here. That's definitely too much on those velocities, unfortunately. Turn this off. All right, let's try another flip book of this here. Oh, I'm like, why are these so bright right now? It's because I turned off the particle display. All right, let's check another one here on this. They seem like these got a lot smaller. Let's make them bigger. Okay, let's try that. All right. I'm going to actually grab the video that I was watching before. just to make sure. Just to kind of remember exactly what this thing looked like. All right, here it is. Okay. All right, interesting. Curious, what was the side of that looking like? Oh yeah, there's some interesting similarities there. I mean, here's the thing too. These side pieces are really kind of messing with us as well. Like these little bits that are hitting the side there. So let's actually see if we can't. Yeah, we actually don't even really. Yeah, the droplets might be too large. That's a good point. Let's try to only have them up on the top of this. I think that's going to be better anyways. I keep thinking of that War on Drugs commercial where the girl's doing the breath. I don't even know what that is. That's crazy. Never heard of that. Yeah, maybe they are just a little bit too big. Okay. You know what? Let's, just out of curiosity, let's turn this down just a little bit. All right, let's see that. That's kind of looking interesting. Sorry, one from the peanut gallery. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I don't even know what War on Drugs. Oh, do you mean like the US War on Drugs? Hey Anya, welcome. I'm guessing you must mean like the actual United States government's war on drugs and not like some band or something like that. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't remember that one. That's interesting. All right, let's see if we can turn up the surface tension on this. So I think that's going to help us as well. So let's do that. Let's just double it right now. I wonder if we've lost Phil. He might have fallen asleep. It is we are the Unk crew here, so yeah, let's turn some of these up a little bit. Well, if it was that time of night for me, I might be asleep as well. I fell asleep last night on the couch watching something, and now, and then woke up at like 5 a.m. in the morning. I was like, whoa, last night I was just out. It's like, oh, I guess it's morning time. My wife and dog were up in bed, and I was just like all out of sorts on the couch. There you go. Wow, a nap before the stream. Wow, that's true preparedness. It's still, yeah. It's only 7:30 for me, so I mean it's super early here. All right, let's see what we're getting into here. You know what? I'm trying to watch this frame by frame, and that's silly. So let's do this. Throw another sequence in there, and let's jump into some flip book in here. My screen wouldn't come on. Oh no. Oh, that's right. You're up in the Arctic area, so you're the sun rises at crazy hours for you, Mandy. That is crazy. Yeah, that'll get the old body kind of freaked out. Yeah, it's interesting. I was kind of hoping that this might be a little bit more doable. I don't know. I'm feeling a little unsure about what it is we're going for here. I just don't like these lines here, but it is interesting because like, oh, wow, the keynote's still playing. Great. If we look at this here, not this, that's cool. Especially this next part here. Oh, you know what? I kind of wonder if we need to have like variable like surface like friction basically on it, so it's not all uniform and smooth. That might be the call here as I'm thinking about this. This looks like something I should have been here from the beginning. That's funny. Oh, you know what? I also didn't hello? I also didn't turn up my amount of cache, so this is freaking out. Advanced. There we go. We can turn this to, let's say 32. There we go. So I'm kind of wondering how this is like adhering to the sides of it. It's all right, Enya. It's no problem to be a little late to the party. So we're just doing some MPM simulation here. See if we can't get something that's kind of close to. Yeah, so this is weird because it's got like a cover on it, right? So that's a little bit different too. Like this is a cover of a car, so it's really smooth. Like there's nothing that it's going to be grabbing onto, really. So I just want to see. Okay, yeah, that's really adhering really closely to these. So that's kind of interesting. So like we're getting some real adhesion on this. All right, let me look at the MPM collider here. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I've never watched a covered car in the pouring rain either, but you know what? We're just gonna go with it. I do think our friction is a little bit too low here, so let's up that a little bit. Should the viscosity be randomized within a range? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to vary the friction within a range. So I want this to kind of have some noisiness to it. So it's not just constantly smooth on a friction. If a little bounce particles would look cool. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to basically have these particles kind of shoot up based on, you know, they kind of like pop up like that. But yeah, I see what you're saying, like having them kind of move around and do things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this geometry and I'm going to remesh it. because I want to actually get some better amount of geometry here. So let's see. Let's turn this off. Yep. Okay, so this is actually our collision object. So there it is. How close does this match up? Okay, so let's go in here and tweak this a little bit. I mean, we could probably go down to something almost like that. I'm just gonna kind of keep reducing this until it gets to a point where I'm pretty happy with it. Kind of doesn't even matter how many points we have here because we're about to turn it into a VDB anyways, which this is going to be really a pretty dense VDB. So it's not really going to affect the VDB output of it. But what I'm going to do is I am going to add a friction attribute here, which this is basically saying creates it's a friction point attribute found on the geometry. I'm just going to check and make sure that that's actually saying like that's the name of it is friction. I just want to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that that is going to be what it is here. So let's see, friction, the friction point attribute found on the geometry. Yep, perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do attribute adjust float. Somebody knocked the side mirrors off. We should talk to the Polyhaven people about that. It does seem like seems like there's something wrong with that car. All right, so let's do this. We'll call this friction. I'm just going to visualize it here. Let's add some noise and let's tweak this. So let's bring the element size down a little bit, maybe even still a little bit more. Yeah, maybe like that's cool. Is this going to directly map it? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this to 1, and then we can set this here to be the actual. Yeah, exactly. That's true. If there was that some extra shaping there, it might not just streak straight down the side of it like that. All right, so let's do this, and let's take the minimum value to be 0.25, and the maximum value we'll keep at 1. So let's do that, and then we'll create a VDB from attribute. Now we have a friction attribute. Okay, cool. Let's just see here. Just making sure that we don't have to turn anything on here. Maybe some air drag would be good. Just a little bit, maybe. Okay, I'm not seeing anything here that needs to be set up for that. Okay. Zach, don't hate me. I'm just one man. All right, so let's see how this might work for us here. Okay, we're obviously compiling some extra stuff here, so that's interesting. Luckily, my GPU memory is okay, which is good because I think this is all happening on the GPU if I'm remembering correctly. Waiting for this to go. It's really hard for me to know if I'm actually muted or not because I can't hear myself right now. So it's really strange to be doing this without hearing myself like in my ears. All right, so it looks like now I have way too much friction because this is all just sitting there. One of these big NPM sim might benefit for something like that. Yeah, where you have a lot of GPU RAM for sure. Yeah, GPU RAM is something that is helpful for NPM for sure. All right, let me turn this off for a second here because we're definitely not getting any real movement on this now, which is kind of a bummer. So let's see here. We're getting a little bit. Can I visualize anything here? No, unfortunately not. Yes, the new Macs are all shared memory as well. Okay, so let's come up here to this friction. Just see what we're setting here. Oops. Yeah, perfect. That's what I wanted to do. Just disconnect everything. Oh, you know what? I could create this to be whatever voxel size I want it to be. That is great. I should do that. We don't have to have such a big collision geometry. Hooray. Okay, that's probably a little bit better. Maybe we'll just do this. Call that good. Oop. Yeah, I know. Almost no friction and a lot of stickiness or varied stickiness. Yeah, so the stickiness thing is interesting because I like logically I see what you're saying. I think though that the stickiness is actually how much it's adhering to the surface and not so much like it's a little different than the friction because like if you're on just a flat surface, the stickiness kind of doesn't really do a whole lot with it maybe. Okay, so I was just hoping that maybe that would sim a little faster if I did that, but it doesn't really change it, but that's okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's take the maximum value. We don't want to have a maximum value of 1 on the friction side of things. So let's say 0.5 is the maximum. And we could do the same thing with the stickiness too. Why not? I think it's stickiness like that. And that's 0 to 0.9. And I'm just going to throw in a different offset on that. Sure. Just want to see that those have different values in them. Okay, there's stickiness. There's friction. Okay. Hopefully those are slightly different. Hi, buddy. Somebody just outside barking. Barking at the neighborhood. Right? Scared guy. Always scared of everything. All right, so let's see here. Let's see what we're getting. Sorry, a lot of dead air here. I'm just watching and thinking. Also wonder if maybe I turned the surface tension up too high. All right, let me hit play here. We're all anticipating. Yep. I mean, some of it is sort of working. I mean, it is interesting though that like this here. Sorry, not that. I mean, also the simulation scale is probably way smaller and took way longer than this, so there's that as well. All right, what to play with next here? All right, let's hit stop on this. Hit stop over here. I'm kind of curious what's going on the back of this. Interesting. That's almost looking better on the back of it. I wonder if it's just the geometry of this too. Let me try something else here too. What if I did this? Turned up the number of these. Yeah, I think the angle does help too. I agree. A lot of water just sitting on the hood. I think it would flow off quicker. Yeah, for sure. I agree. All right, let's try this. Let's try to take the friction. And let's just do this really, really small. Let's just do that, just for kicks. All right. All right, that looks like that's moving quite a bit quicker now too. Let's see. All right, I'm going to turn. You mentioned scale. I was watching VFX and Chill 2 years ago, and they said while scale should be accurate, also adjust the scale as needed to fake effects. Yeah, I think that does happen a lot. The scale, like Maitland was saying, that I was referring to is actually the scale of the simulation itself, like the number of particles. So, for example, at the end here, I hope that, oh, hello. I don't need to go to frame 128. So at this point here, I have 511,000 particles, right? And what we're seeing there, is basically the number of points. And then obviously there's volumetric data involved in this as well. Although I'm not seeing it here. I know that there are volumetrics happening here. There's volumes. So yeah, if the scale of the simulation, as far as the resolution of the simulation is too high, then yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it like in real time. I just sit here for hours just waiting for these things to simulate. But real world scale is usually pretty good to go by in Houdini for the most part. But certain things are really bad, like flip. If you go too small, it kind of breaks down. The math just kind of freaks out. And other things, if you go too big, can freak out as well. So yes, it does kind of it does matter messing with the scale from that standpoint. Sometimes people do scale larger and then have the simulations basically, yeah, if you make it a little bit bigger and have it go a little slower, it might be more interesting for slow motion stuff. Yeah, there's all sorts of things there that can be done. Okay, I think that the friction did help changing that a little bit. So I'm just going to do this here. And actually changing this voxel size did not really make a bit of difference for this. So I'm going to turn that off. And actually, I'm going to say, let's change this to 0.5 to 0.9. Deep in space, does the math break down? Yeah, it might. I'm just going to assume that these are multipliers. So I'm just going to leave these both at 1 and let them hopefully multiply. Okay, the other thing I want to do here is I want to take the MPM source and I want to turn the surface tension down. I'm going to turn it back down to 1. Kind of feel like that might be messing with things a little here. All right. Let's try a flip book of this. Ah, shoot. Oh, well. Writing over that last flip book, but that'll be okay. Get that last little frame. Pop. Nice. Thanks, Zach. Thanks for joining the stream. I mean, yeah, it's getting somewhere here. Your PC's crying, thinking of meshing it. Zach did the ice cream setup, yes. Are you asking if I made it? Because I didn't make any. I've never made anything for the release stuff, if that's what you're asking. No, I did not. I do not have those kinds of skills. But yeah, Zach did the swirling ice cream scoop. I think it's pretty obvious with this that I did not do that. Okay, this is starting to look a little better. I think having the the surface tension higher was maybe a mistake. I was thinking it needed to be, but might have been a mistake. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do one where I just straight up turn that off, just for curiosity here. Let's turn that off. And let's go again. Just to compare the two. All right, I'm going to open up my sequence list here. Yeah, it's not a huge difference. Not a huge difference. Slight. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to scale some stuff back again. I'm actually going to pull this initial size on these back a little bit as well. Just make those a little bit. Would what be totally crazy, Maitland? Not sure what you're maybe getting ice cream? Ice cream's great. I love ice cream. It doesn't really love me. What if the noise of the smoothness was animated? Noise of the smoothness. I'm not sure if that would actually feed into it or not. I'm not sure if it can do that, to be quite honest. Ice cream for breakfast at night. No, that's good. Have ice cream whenever. You know what I'm kind of thinking too? I wonder if having a little bit of like wind noise in here might actually do something nice for us. Now I know that with MPM, using like pop noises and stuff like that actually slows it down a bunch because it's obviously on the GPU and it's got it transferred over to the CPU for that. Things of that nature, but I kind of wonder if that would work. The animated, what if noise was animated? That's kind of making me think of that. This is interesting though. It does feel like with these being smaller, it's actually like looking nicer. So maybe that's the key, is these just need to be a lot smaller. Because I think it's actually starting to like look a little bit. Oh, Tom. I'm a medium. Thank you. Tom is very sweet. Tom's the man. Hi, Tom. How are you doing? Nice to have you in the chat. You're probably still at work. Okay, this is starting to really get some of that. If someone, okay, I'll never say, even though I just said it on live TV. Do you have enough for everyone? Tom, you're not supposed to jump in the chat and just ask about that stuff. Jeez, Tom's the best. Tom's probably off designing Houdini 25 right now. Just kidding. He's definitely not. All right, we're starting to get closer here. This is actually like starting to do some stuff that I'm happy about. All right, so let's kill that for a second here. Let's. You've started, Tom. Should have been a DM. Now you're in trouble. Now there's going to be angry messages from I was never born. I'm a ghost. Oh man. Okay, that's really weird that didn't actually update it. Very strange, but okay. Anyways. I was never here. Okay, so if I'm... Okay, let's go in and add some of that pop wind here. I think that... Well, we're just gonna do this. Just call it. I'm almost down to none. Tom, yep, Tom opened it. Everyone send your complaints and requests to Tom, not to me. Oh, Tom, you've really done it. All right, so let's try this. Enya's suggestion was really good. I am going to... I also want to make sure... I'm not sure. Yeah, I just keep saying Enya. I have no idea how to say that whole thing. So, yep. Everyone's gonna be knocking down Tom's door. Anyways, all right. So we've got our pop wind in here. Thank you for that suggestion. That's probably going to help a little bit here. So let's see if we can. Oh, interesting. The pop velocity ran faster. Yeah, it could be scene dependent. That's a great point. Oh, I didn't know he did that. That's cool. That's very cool. Oh, that's funny. Dwayne. Okay. That's awesome. It's so hard to like know what to call everybody here. That's fun. I like that. What is happening here? Oh, you know what? I'm trying to figure out what's happening here, and I know what's happening here. And this is exactly I was trying to get this to happen the other day, and I have it happen, and now I just have no idea. Did you know Blender t-shirts are free? That's a good joke. I like that a lot, Zach. Very good. When are we able to get flip plushies? Oh man, Tom, I'm telling you, man, you have opened up Pandora's box. So here's what happened. I have the collision geometry and the it's actually over top of what I should just be seeing is just the mesh. So here, if I do a reset viewport, this is what I should be seeing. Great. No, the points aren't inside. It was just a visualization issue. And I've had that happen when you dive inside of networks and come back out, especially with like DOP networks, because you're technically diving inside of a DOP network when you do that. And I've had that same issue, and we're literally, so yeah. Rubber Ducky Roberto's. Oh man, it's all happening. It's actually a Blender one. Oh, Tom, that's good. I didn't even see that comment. Yeah, go talk to the Blender people. They'll get you a great Blender shirt. Oh yeah, I think this is actually going to really help. All right, let me flipbook this so we can actually watch this in real time because I don't know what's happening there. All right, let's this start it up. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. This is starting to feel nice. We're getting some weird like sliding stuff. Oh, I wish I had my pup camera. He's hanging out down here. Oh. Okay, yeah, this is starting to feel a lot better now. The original sim of this was made actually by Tom's great nemesis, internal side effects nemesis, who won all of our internal image contests. So this is probably PTSD for Tom. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. If you wanted to see the raindrops before hitting the car, what I would do is, yeah, I think this is starting to actually like get there. I think this is like, it's not great, but it's doing more of what I was kind of hoping it would do, I think. Oh. Bye, Tom. Get out of the office if you're still there. You shouldn't be if you are. You're fired if you are. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. So, all right. So that's a great question. Thank you, Zach, for asking the question. So let's now come up here and let's do let's add another geo in here. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. That's okay. Sim falling rain. Tank swag. Oh, the swag is good. Come to the Toronto event this year. There's always lots of cool swag there. I think. I don't know. Who knows? I've definitely got a shirt there before. Okay, so let's do this and let's do a pop network. And still don't have a passport. Yeah, that'll do it. All right, let's ghost other objects. The Toronto event is in September every year. Wow, I wonder what the Mandy's on Discord. I wonder what that is. over a year later. I think it's in September. It's like the 23rd or 24th. You can find it on the website. There's a place where it has all the events for the year. Okay, so let's just do a grid. And wire that in here. Let's just say that they're... Yeah, I don't know. Sure, something like this is fine. Oops. What's going on here? There we go. Felt like I was losing my mind. I'm like, why is that not? Okay. So let's do this. Let's do gravity force. And let's hide other objects. I have to go to California first, get to get my ID there. Now I have a good excuse. Oh man. That sounds like a task. All right, so let's grab this car cover as well, so we can have that for our collider. I'm just gonna paste. Oops. Hello. Thought I copied that. Copy. Paste. There we go. All right, we'll wire this in, and we'll do a static object with a merge in here. Here, I guess. And we should also do a ground plane, I guess. No, actually, I'm not even going to do a ground plane. We don't need to worry about that. All right, so we should see. They won't give you an ID in Alabama, even if you're from here and they know exactly who you are. Wow, that sounds fun. All right, so can we do a pop kill? Let's see, pop kill. And we're gonna wire this in here and say bounding box, enable, and we're gonna say that's brutal. I saw in a tutorial that using a pop force is more interesting. Yeah, I'll do that. That's cool. I didn't realize that. I mean, this is also like super simple, but yeah, it's interesting. Throw that in there, and what is it? Let me try to remember what gravity is here. What's the gravity force? Just copy that over. Great. Cool. Nice. All right, so let's turn the number of these way down. Okay, cool. That's why you didn't go to SIGGRAPH last year. Oh, right, because it was in Wow, man. Maitland, you've got a lot of stuff going on. Holy cow, man. All right, let's see the size of this. Let's just make a nice big box here. We'll just call it 10 by 10. If anything goes inside of there, it will die. Great. Cool. Then we need this. We're going to say op input path. And for this, we're going to do 2 dots because we want it to go up. I think that's all we need, 2 dots. Then we're going to say input 1. And so that should give us our collision geometry. That's just a way to get the path to the input. And 2 dots means go up a level, and the second input is 1. So there we go. So now if we do this, we should have collision. Oh, that's super funny. I like it bouncing like that. Oh, that's what rain does, guys. That's 100% what rain does. Hi, Leonard. You want to come back up? Come here. Come say hello to everybody again. Hi, buddy. Hi. Okay. Good boy. Leonard wanted to see the rain, the fake raindrops. He's such a good guy. He's literally like his favorite thing is snuggling. It's really great. He loves it. I mean, he likes to play too, but he loves snuggling. So it's a great dog. Yes, the doggo gets lots of pets. All right, so let's see here. There we go. So what we can do here is we can do collision Da, 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 da. I think we can just stop. Actually, yeah, we could probably do die even. Okay, let's see. Is there a frame in which those are dead? No, unfortunately not. Okay. Just trying to think if there's a good way to get the... Yeah, slide would be good, but I just want it to be the actual source, like when it hits, basically. So I'm just trying to think of, exactly what's our best way here to do this. Yeah, because I thought that there is this. Yeah, the problem, so yeah, the grouping could work too. So I'm just trying to think of exactly how I want to do this because I only want it to be on that very first frame. I don't want it to stick around after that. So what I could possibly do here is let's see if we can do this here. There's a group hit, right? And I'm just going to say stop. Oh, why are those hits in the air like that? That is weird. Stick? Am I doing the wrong one? There we go. Oh, is there a hit time? There is a hit time. You're right. You are right. Thank you. There is a hit time. Age but for dead ones. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. Hit time. Where is it? There it is. Oh. Can I just do that? Oh, see, this is the problem. I want it to stop, which is going to not have it continually hitting. Okay, I think I can work with this. Yeah, see, it keeps calculating the number of hits. So that's really not even working for us. Why is that happening? Yeah, see, look here. You can see that these keep ticking up. Not sure which one even has Why does number 10? Hello? No, don't display that. Where is number 10? Trying to increase sub steps. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. All right, let's see. Let's see how that works. Nope. Man, that is so weird. I do not know why that's happening. Okay. All right, let's just do this. Just kind of wire these in as they are. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Nope. Yeah, this is weird. I don't know why. Gosh, apparently, would turning bounce off do anything? Maybe. Like just killing that. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it looks like that's sort of helped. Yeah, like I thought that move to hit would stop it and like put it to the surface. Okay, that looks like that's actually doing it. Okay, so but are we still hitting like a million times? I think we are. Yep. Okay, so let's just do this. We're just gonna do pop wrangle, and this is just going to be for the group hit. We're gonna say f at age plus equals I think is it frame ink or something like that. I think that's what it is. I might be wrong. I'm gonna call this hit age. Let's see if that works. There is a name for this. Oh, time ink. That's what it is. Frame ink is nothing. Time ink. Okay, we got it. Let's see if we can make this work. All right, so let's just output those. That should give us our hits. Great. So now let's take that and we're just going to let's see, we can just do let's do a pop, or let's do a wrangle. Sorry, point wrangle. So this should be outputting just the pop object. So I'm just going to put that in there like that. And then we're going to work on this going from here. And we should have our groups, our hit groups. So we're only going to run this over hit. And we're going to say, actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to blast first here because we don't want these other points anyway. So we're just going to say only the hit group. Say these are points. See delete non-selected. There we go. It's so funky. What is going on with that? That is so weird. Let's see here. We should have some that have hit age of 0. Or basically 0. Okay. So here we could... Oh, we could actually just do another blast here. We could just say blast. We could just say points at hit age is greater than 0, I think it was 005, maybe? Is that right? Yes, 05. It's 041 or whatever, but that should be fine because we're doing it in set increments. So there we go. There's all of our particles hitting. So those are only the very brand new ones, the ones that have the youngest age. And what I'm going to do too is I'm just going to say, I'm going to array these. So I'm just going to make sure that these are arrayed to the collision thing. And I'm just going to say minimum distance, and these should now sit on the geometry itself, hopefully. Yep, there we go. So now they're all sitting nicely on the geometry, and I could probably turn up the number of particles here. So let's just say 250, something like that seems good. Here we go. Those are all falling and doing their thing. Now we've got these rayed particles that are just going to go like that. Nice. That seems about right. I could probably go a little further. That's only like 8. So let's do, like, at most, it's like 8 that are hitting at a time. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cool. All right. And so then what we could do here is, actually, we could have just done a split with this and split this out and said points and hit, and we'll just invert the selection. We'll put this in here, I think. Oh, sorry. I don't even need to do that. Yep. So this should still be those. Yep. Great. So these are going to be that. I'm going to say out. I'm going to say out splash source, something like that. And then I can just put an output here from this side, and these will be all of the other particles. before they hit the car, I thought. They shouldn't be those. Why are those showing up here? Yeah, I mean it's not too bad. I'm really confused as to why this is not actually doing what I'm expecting it to. Delete non-selected. Okay, and then if I did this and only kept the selected, why are those in there? I am very confused. How could these have been colored red but not gone into the hit group? Wait a second. I'm so confused here. If the group isn't preserved, it is cleared out first so that only the particles in the group will be those that just hit. If it is preserved, the group will accumulate all particles that ever hit. Okay. I am so beyond confused right now. Okay, let's reset this simulation. Is there something like inherently wrong with this? I'm really confused. It says preserve group. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, so I'm very confused by this. Okay. I think this is what I need to use. I'm just being a dummy. So this is what I probably want to use because I actually want this here to be, oops, over here. It doesn't need to be deforming geometry. Group name, hit. Wait, can I just do that? No. Why is it? Oh, okay, here. Fine. Oh, that's what it is. Group : hit. There we go. Okay. So now we should be computing the hits. Well, there's the problem, it seems. Seems that having both of those was the issue. Oops. All right, let's see what we got going on here, because that's crazy town. Okay, hit. Should be everything that hits. That seems right. That should be nothing that hits. Perfect. Oh my gosh. You'd think that I was doing something like groundbreaking here. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Apparently I haven't done a lot of particle work recently. Gotta brush up on my particle skills. Okay. Hooray. So this should only be the white ones. This should be all the red ones. Now we're getting the ones that are just the ones that are the initial hits, and we're raying those and making sure they're on the surface, even though that's probably totally unnecessary now because we're using, yep. So we don't need to do that at all because we're just using, yeah, the static object got in the way of the particle collision. Yep, exactly. I was thinking that that was how you do it, but if you want it to bounce, you do it the other way. If you want to just detect it, you do it this way. So yeah, just silly, just being dumb. Now that's perfect. They're all on the surface, all looking good. Great. Okay, cool. So now we have all of our particles hitting like this. And so what we can do is we can just simply take the water sheeting here. We can come in and do an object merge. Success. Yeah. First try. Just like Batman. Lego Batman. Get splash sources. Okay, so let's just keep this here. We're just going to cut this. We'll just keep these up here. That should be all of those. Great. We can wire those in here. We should see that we're going to get our splashes from that. Hooray. Hooray. I guess the colors don't really matter. Cool. Okay. So now if we do this, put this on the output here, just to make sure it's showing. Actually, what we could just do is just say show all objects. And if we look at this, we should see that we're going to have those falling down, and then there are our particles kind of transitioning into the actual simulation like so. That is interesting that we're getting it a little bit lower there. Not sure why that is. But anyways, we could always, I think we could offset this a little bit, but yeah, you could just offset the collision VDB a slight bit to make up for that. The other thing we could do too is we could do, for this, we could take these and say, trail, what do they call these? Particle trail. Yep, you could do something like that and just have a little, let's see here, we could just give it a little less, like maybe something like 0.25. Cool, something like that. I'll just color these the same color. Oh, that might be hard to see. Let's just change the background to dark gray. There we go. And let's output this. Oh, darn it. It's selected on that. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, it looks like we've got something going on here, and it's sort of working. Yeah, I think the wind variability I think is really nice. It gives a little bit of extra like noise and things like that on it. You could obviously have it colliding with the ground as well. I just figured we'll just do it like this. And yeah, I mean, so you're going to see obviously with these types of things a lot better results as you increase things like substeps, but also as you increase things like your resolution of your simulation. That's going to really help as well. Yeah, it's starting to get there. I mean, these types of things are always what I love this about Houdini. I just love simulations and playing around with stuff. But Soulless, that's very sweet. Yes, I think truly people are like the people that really do the amazing, crazy work out there with Houdini are insane, crazy magicians. I'd buy that for $1. I don't know the reference, but it's great. Yeah. So, and another thing I would really probably do if I was doing this better would be changing those little short source shapes a little bit, so you get a little bit better splashes out of them. Maybe getting it to kind of spread apart a little bit more. That would be something I'd take maybe a little bit more time to play with, because I think you're going to get better results with that. And then when you get to the meshing part of things, maybe looking at the neural point meshing type stuff. That would be something I would certainly take a look at, because it gives you really nice results, especially for things like this where you've got like sheeting and like, you know, breaking apart elements, like where things are actually like moving apart. That's always a little bit hard to make sure that you've got it, you know, fully not like jittering and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like fun little stuff that can be taken from this. Yeah, the ground plane probably could have a little bit of it's like high friction basically. It's just stopping, which is kind of funny, but yeah, I think you're getting a much nicer overall look from all this stuff here. Certainly there would be a little bit more maybe friction if the drops, like if you could really do this at the right scale, like the drops being even smaller would stick more, and then the friction would probably come in a bit better. So like you could probably actually get the friction up a little bit higher, and then only when the drops got big enough, they would actually start to fall and slide and stuff like that. But you know, these are all things that you'd have to kind of stop and play with. I think also you could maybe, you could get some, would it help the effect if there are parts of the geo that randomly produces particles that move in the same way? Yeah, certainly that could be something that would help. I think the other part of it too is that now that I've done this, I've actually kind of reduced the amount of particle spawns that are happening here. So if I come in here and actually maybe even double this to 1,000 and come in here, let's just see how this looks. I have a feeling that you want a good amount of water here, kind of like hitting it, but you also don't want, like, you don't want too much, you don't want too little, because too much just is kind of insane. The other thing somewhere that happened was that it looks like we ended up with some, oh Oh, sorry. The other thing I'm noticing here is there's my sequence list there. Looks like these changed to white for some reason because we're selected on them. Yep. There we go. So let's flipbook this again. Yeah, I think that's working a little bit better with more fluid. So yeah, this is the, where's my sequence list? Bring it back. Hello? I lost my sequence list. How did that happen? Huh. Weird. Never seen that happen before. Oh, here it is. It's minimized down there. How did I do that? Well, I minimized it, I guess, but yeah, so you can see how much like nicer this looks with having a lot of, like, a decent amount of water here. You don't want too much because then it like pools, it kind of sits there, but that's more, that's less. It's like a little too light there, maybe. Maybe it's better like this where you're getting a little bit more. Could you inherit the velocity from the drops to them? Oh, you mean like the falling velocity affecting? Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. There's a lot that you could do with the sourcing of these that could be better. Yeah, what I would probably do if I was doing this for real, first of all, the rain wouldn't be falling straight down. You'd have a little bit of an angle to it. But probably what I would do is like calculate the reflected angle of the actual drop falling so that it's getting a little bounce in that direction. And then, yeah, you would basically just take the reflected angle and then you could copy that velocity over to that little shape that you've made. In this case, I was kind of working with those little burst shapes, so I didn't have to play around too long with that. But certainly the shape of your little, emitters is going to help quite a bit. But I mean, the thing I am happy about this is that we are getting some randomization in it. They're not all like doing the exact same thing. So you are getting a little bit of random, velocity and stuff like that because I put some random noise into it. But yeah, I think this is it's working pretty well. Pretty happy with it. Obviously, we're sourcing a lot more on the side of it here, and they're kind of like flying off in weird ways. But I think the stuff coming down the hood and kind of doing that is working pretty well. So I think this is where we're going to end it up because this is getting really long. It's 8:45 p.m. in the yeah, I think the front is starting to look pretty nice. You probably in reality want even smaller drops and even more of them, and then you're going to be a lot happier with it. But I think this simulation at this resolution, I just can't really go down too much further with it without really chugging things along. But yeah, I think this is pretty fun. I think it's getting to be, you can kind of see where it's going and keep moving in that direction and playing around with stuff. Gerota, hey, I'm trying to make a shader in Karma that looks like tiny crystal silica sand. Grain should look slightly see-through with a rough, dry look instead of shiny glass. Not sure if I should be using transmission, subsurface, absorption, or a mix of them. I'm guessing that you're trying to do making up for the hour you missed. Yeah, no worries. So Gerota, I'm guessing that you're doing up close grains of sand, or are you trying to do individual like particles to a shader or to like geometry basically? Is that what you're trying to do? Because if you're up close to it, you want to actually, what you would probably want to do is actually like instance a bunch of geometry onto it. And so what I would probably do is within Solaris is do a point instancer using a bunch of tiny little grains basically, and then use a point instancer to instance those all onto there. just simple little geometry. But I wouldn't do it with just a shader, because you're going to be getting, with just a shader on points, you're going to get spheres, right? And that's going to just not look right. You're just not going to ever be able to get that to work properly. Oh, cool. There you go. Zach is just mentioning that John Coots did a sand tutorial. So take a look at that. There you go. I mean, that's going to be much better than anything I can do. I'm more of a technical guy than an artist with all the nice shaders and stuff. So certainly not my forte, but that would be my 2 cents with actually doing it with like grains and things like that. Like if you're doing with individual points. So anyways, if you, Gerard, if you need more help on that and want to post some screenshots and ask for suggestions and tips and things, feel free to go to Houdini Hangout, grab an invite to the Discord server, and you can go on there and ask for help and, bring up new topic suggestions and all sorts of things like that. This was a suggestion on there that I was like, oh yeah, we could probably give that a shot. So feel free to jump on there, and you can always update us as we go along. So yeah, take a look at John Kuntz's tutorial. That sounds like it would be a good one. All right, everybody. Well, that is pretty much going to be it for this stream. Thank you all for being here. I won't be here the next couple weeks because next week, Mr. Leonard's got to go see the doctor. And the week after that, I will be in Los Angeles for SIGGRAPH. So if anybody is in SIGGRAPH, reach out. Say, let me know you're there and come say hi or whatever. I know SIGGRAPH is getting a little bit smaller, but if you're there, let me know. Hit me up on Discord, whatever. Say hi. And that will be it. So I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. So thank you all for joining and for being here. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I mean, that's the only reason I'm trying to do that. I even started this was to help other people, meet people, and chat about Houdini. So hey, thank you all for being here and making it so that I have people to talk to. So all right, everybody. Well, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, night, whatever time it is where you are. And yeah, I'll see you all in a couple weeks. Have a good one. See you later.